One of the main things that we think we need to figure out is, what does it mean to be Presbyterian? What does it mean for us to gather as a denomination that calls itself Presbyterian? We're in a world now that many will say are post-denominational. I think we're more post-50s and 60s denominational. I think there's still a role for denominations in our culture. But for the most part, we don't really have this idea about what it means to be Presbyterian. What is it that we want to pass on that is unique, that separates us from others, brothers and sisters of the Christian faith and those of the Reformed faith? Is there anything at all that is unique? For me, what that means is we need to recapture this idea about being Presbyterian, that we best discern the mind of Christ and the will of God together. There's something about that says to a world that would rather have us separate into camps, cluster into ideological, philosophical, theological beliefs, and never talk to each other. As Presbyterians, we believe deeply that we best discern the mind of Christ and the will of God together. That somehow, in our Reformed understanding of who God is, God's presence and reality unfolds as we engage in that journey. And you and I have to somehow trust that even if somebody disagrees with us, that there is an unfolding of God in that conversation. If we forget that, or we don't believe that anymore, then we're done being Presbyterian. And I think that if we think that's an important thing to hold on to, you and I have to begin to model that in a much better way than we have in the past. That you and I have to actually believe it's important to listen to one another. Because too often I think we adopt ways of the world, and we believe that if you lose, you should be quiet. Or that if you're that one person, we all know that one person that stands up at Presbytery, and they talk all the time, and they get up, and everybody goes, oh, man. Don't point at anybody, please. You may be that person, and who knows. But I don't want to be part of a community that says to each other, you know, actually that one voice, I don't want to hear it anymore. I want to be part of a community that regardless of how much frustration it causes, how much it may take things longer, I want to know that sometimes the majority might in fact be wrong. And that one small voice can still speak the Spirit of God. Because if we get to the point where we've decided, you know what, actually I can determine the mind of Christ and the will of God better than we can together, then we've lost the essence of what it means to be Presbyterian.